is being recorded. Recording since preventing recording. Shit. I brought preventing recording again. Holy crap. You know what? Let's just do this. Well, I think the recording can be found through YouTube. And LinkedIn. We can find recordings later on, I assume. Holy crap. Let me refresh my Okay. If you can see a live on LinkedIn, YouTube, let us know. It's still streaming. So let me go to. Fuck, this is crazy. Jonathan, let's do this. Sorry. So okay. I think the link itself is weird. Sorry. You know, let's do this. Coming from we have
something's coming through on LinkedIn with a delay. I'm just checking on
is still on LinkedIn right now? Can people hear me through LinkedIn and can hear me live? LinkedIn is video working?
Yeah, so, it's coming with a bit of a delay because I just scratched my neck and I saw it on the screen. Look, everybody, it's us. We're here.
We're here. Okay, slow down. So just want to record. You know what? Let me use my phone to record. I think your side is so slow down. So Johnson, are you sure on LinkedIn? I couldn't see LinkedIn coming through. So LinkedIn going through right now.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't state for a fact, but it seems to be on some sort of delay. Things I am doing are showing up on LinkedIn.
Cool. So people on LinkedIn, can you see us live right now? Comment on the chat. Okay. Comment on the chat. Can you see us live or not? Because I'm not able to see it on LinkedIn. Sorry about this. Hey guys, something the recording. So for people on LinkedIn, comment on the chat. You see us lot. Mine stopped at 4 minutes something.
All right. So here's YouTube. And let's see what the delay is to showing me holding up my phone. There we go. We're on a delay, but we're on YouTube somehow.
Okay. Came from are we on LinkedIn? On my end, it's not. The comment is not popping on LinkedIn. Anyone else have the still pause video? Someone see pause video.
Okay, let's see. Here's the LinkedIn version. Yep, that's pretty quick. You see, look, the phone goes down.
Cool. So we are live on LinkedIn.
Looks like it. Let's see if the phone comes back.
Okay. Perfect. Sideways. Maybe I think maybe stream twice on LinkedIn.
Huh.
I think here's what's going on. One sec. I think YouTube restarted it and LinkedIn streaming twice. But anyway, so let's continue. I'm going to use my phone to record it. This is very embarrassing. It was working last time.
It's all good. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
Okay, cool. We live. So let me do this. Join you live. Okay, cool. Everybody, we are live. Okay, great. Audio is audible. Other was The other one was so there were two. See what's going on. Wait, we're gonna make it work. Okay, cool. It's king. There's an echo. Is there an echo? People comment, and then the record. It does record and post videos. Okay, great, cool. We're gonna do post process at the same time. Let me do this. Let me use phone to record on my side just in case. Okay, cool. We're getting started. Your voice is echoing. My voice is echoing.
I'm not hearing an echo. I'm okay.
Okay. There's an echo. You're radiant echo. I hear. Okay, so. Okay, so here's what we plan to do. Hey guys, sorry, there's we couldn't record, but we're gonna put it later on. But I'm very Jonathan on the call but Jonathan's side is being recorded, I believe. Your side is recording. Mine is not, so that's why I'm recording right now. Okay, great, cool. Okay, so let's get started. Anyway, it's always tech issues. You know what? We're all managing tech company. We're to solve the problem next time. Hey guys. All right, let's do this. Let me do the 1 minute countdown timers. Actually 30 seconds. Let's do. So we'll get started. So people know we're officially starting now. And the share screen. 30 seconds. Okay, guys, this is Doc and Lee. Let me stop this one right now. I believe everybody can hear us. Hey, welcome to Insider today. So, excited to have a special guest, Jonathan Bellack, here with us as exact presentation. Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Hi, it's good to be here today.
Great to have you. And here is what we are going to do today. And I know we have lots of audience on both LinkedIn and also YouTube. And if you're here, please comment on the chat, say hi, because we're facing some technology issue. And now we want to see if everybody can actually join us and hear us better. How are you? We spend lots of time inviting our guest, Jonathan, to share with his unique insider knowledge. And he had been working for Google for almost 15 years. But he started his career from a startup out of college in the dot-com booming product and all the way to go. It has so much experience from sharing with you big tech companies like was a career growth. So, and addition, if you're interested in startup, he can share you a lot of knowledge about startup because currently he's starting his own company as a product management company and yeah, he's going to with you from his insight and helping other companies and to their product perspective as well. Oh, great, cool. All right, so a quick introduction regarding what it is for the Insider podcast and what we're doing right now. So, hey guys, I am Dr. Nancy Lee. I'm passionate about all things product, career growth, and nonprofit. On a mission to help you create amazing product that impacts millions of people's lives while getting the work-life balance you deserve. Welcome to Product Insider. Shy away from the real talk? No way. Covering everything from imposter syndrome, people management, and various facing product leaders of tomorrow. And we're joined by fan-level product leaders to get low down on what's hot right now. And I'm your host, Dr. Nancy Lee. I moved to the US with $800 in my pocket and became a director of product in 4 years. Now I run product accelerator. that make management careers accessible to one. Are you ready? Welcome, product insider. Okay, hey, awesome, great to have you, John. Hey, Jonathan, can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you did a great job of it, Nancy. I was sort of lucky in life to come out of college right into the dot-com boom and have spent almost 30 years in the internet industry, building websites back when that was what the cool kids did, all the way through to business school at NYU and quite a while at DoubleClick, and then Google doing digital advertising technology, and then shifting over to focus on trying to combat abuse and help make people safer online. And I decided to leave Google at the beginning of this year, and am currently advising startups and other companies on how to be a more effective product-led organization.
This is awesome, Jonathan, and so excited to have you on our podcast today. And especially, we're going to talk about executive presentation. So lots of people are very confused regarding executive presentation because they think, oh, it's too far out. Sounds like for executives, and if they're new into the issue, they focus on executive presentation or not. Can you give us an overview of this executive presentation?
Yeah, so when I talk about this, it is to a degree focused on something that's very common in these large technology companies like that, are referred to as the FANGs, the sort of the Metas and Googles and so forth, where you have these layers of management and you have people who are relatively senior, whether their title is director or senior director or vice president, who are responsible for broad areas. They may be leading a product used by hundreds of millions or even over 1 billion people. Huge amounts of money could be at stake. And you need to basically explain what the heck you're doing to them periodically in order to get their buy-in, get their help, make sure that they're not surprised by things. And that's a very, very common thing in any organization. You're always transmitting information between teams, between layers, and so forth. So there are a lot of different versions of this, but that's what this is a little bit focused on, is sort of, you've got the big high-stakes meeting with somebody important.
Cool. Hey, Jonathan, let's dive deeper a little bit. When you mentioned, hey, when they present to executives, they may not get what you want, and that push you through. And imagine large corporation like Google, been working there for 15 years. You experience many different kind of executive. Can you walk through regarding what types executive environment we're in?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to go from things that were comparatively small to things that were really pretty enormous. So during my advertising career, when DoubleClick was independent, I was basically with only 1 or 2 other people, a very small product team leading the sort of publisher advertising server, reporting directly to a head of product who reported to the CEO. And then when we were purchased by Google, that group grew pretty dramatically so that my own team was pretty large and there were more layers all the way up to sort of the senior vice president of the entire Google advertising business who would have input to things. I've also been involved when I worked at Jigsaw. It was a very small group of only about 50 or 60 people inside of Google. So it was this unusual thing where there weren't a lot of layers, but the layer we did have would sometimes be like the head of Google's legal team, and really, really senior executives responsible for an enormous amount of stuff who were kindly making their sort of time available. And then finally, when I was doing counter abuse technology, this was a horizontal team. We were a central group trying to help lots of different Google products. So then I would be talking to executives from all over the company that weren't part of the same reporting chain, but had their own areas of responsibility.
Sounds very broad to executives you have went through. Can you give us the examples? You mentioned earlier saying, hey, getting executive buy-in is very challenging. For example, so why is challenging, and also how many times you need to propose your new ideas to executives?
Yeah, so there's kind of 2 things in there. The how many times is interesting because that can vary a lot by organization. I mentioned at Jigsaw, it was sort of a short circuit up to really senior leadership. in advertising in Google, because the group was so big, you'd often be saying, okay, well, if I was a director, I might have to present something to a senior director, and then they would be on board, and then we would go to the vice president to present it to them, and then maybe a group of vice presidents, and then maybe the senior vice president. I would sometimes joke at its worst, it would feel like you had to present 10 times proving you weren't making a mistake before you could do anything. Now, that's a bit of an exaggeration.
That sounds really long process. So how rounds and how long it takes?
I wouldn't even think of it as just excessive process. It's sort of, when you're in a large organization, think of it like a human brain. You're full of neurons in your brain that have to transmit information to each other to get you to be like, oh, wait, I just put something too hot in my mouth. I better get it out. Or I want to write something. There's this whole transmission because you're a big, complicated thing. If we were little flatworms with 100 or 1,000 neurons, you could get the message through a whole lot quicker. So you don't necessarily need as much of the overhead if you're in a startup of 40 or 50 people, because you can kind of get together and figure it out. The only thing I would say is you're always transmitting information, especially as a product manager, where you're almost never fully in authority over everybody that you're working on. You live or die by your ability to communicate effectively with people, whether it's like flatworm size or, brain size.
Yeah, so let me dive deeper a little bit. Can you give a specific example regarding what size of the topic do you actually executive presentation and as we push to VP, director, CEO level? Is this about one feature or is more about strategy roadmap to AI? So you need to push all the way to Sundar level.
So this is where, to your point about personalities, it's really important to understand who your leadership is and how they operate. Some leaders might be very hands-off and they don't want to hear about little details. They only want a big update on really big, important decisions because they're really busy doing other things. There are other leaders that want to know the details and want to interrogate everything really, really deeply. So I think that's a key skill in an effective executive presentation, is remembering and trying to understand who you are speaking to and with, and understanding what they want, how they work, what their personal style is. You're not going into these things to communicate your own material. You're not performing a play on stage. You're not singing in a concert. This is not the Eras Tour. You're not there to be awesome and have everybody recognize it. You need to understand, who is this person in the room and what are they looking for, and how do you adapt what you're doing, not to hide the truth. You want to be telling the truth and getting your point across. But everybody has a different communication style, and you need to understand your leadership in order for it to work well.
Yeah. Can you give me examples of the kind of communication style that actually leading to the outcome or miscommunications?
Yeah, I've got one story, and I hope the people involved are either not on this or don't remember it. Of probably the most clear example of this I ever saw. It was actually still at DoubleClick. And the CEO at DoubleClick is a brilliant guy. He's leading a company called First Dibs right now. The head of product is now leading YouTube. These are some people that, we were a smaller organization, but incredibly talented people. And a product manager had to give an update. This product manager's style was meticulous detail. And that worked well when they were doing things. They would be incredibly detailed. They would want to go through everything. They would write incredibly long memos and do all the analysis incredibly well. So this product manager had good skills. But they showed up to a review meeting. Effectively, they probably had 15 minutes to talk, and they showed up with like an hour of material. And they wanted to go through everything in excruciating detail, building up to their point. Now, that's one thing, and that can happen sometimes. You think you've got an hour, and then the executive's busy, and you've got to squeeze it into a half an hour. Those kinds of things happen, and you need to be ready. What this product manager was not able to do was to adjust course live. And so this product manager was going on and on and on, and you could see the leaders in the room being like, okay, I think we get it. Can we move on now, please? Like, hey, what's going on? And this person couldn't deviate from their script. And you sort of watched these really talented leaders go from like giving feedback to getting impatient to, I mean, this was a long time ago, like pulling out their BlackBerries and being like, okay, I got something else to do. And this product manager never had the opportunity to get in the room with them again. And if you notice, none of this has anything to do with the quality of the recommendation. This wasn't like the person was wrong or they had a bad idea. It was just a case of they didn't think through how to give their idea or their message the best possible chance to land and be influential and help the company succeed. And that story just, it was kind of sad in the moment, and it's always like this person, might have had a different career if they had been able to adjust course.
So I assume he was demoted in the company.
No, I mean, like things don't really work that directly, and you wouldn't want to work at a company where like giving a bad presentation meant you got fired on the day. Like that's not cool. I would not want that. But I think what it does is it affects your ability to do further change. And part of this is when you talk about executives, sort of my model, and I think you used it in the promo, it sounds mean, but it's kind of true, is your default should be think of an executive as busy, suspicious, and distractible. Wow. And the thing to remember to be sympathetic is they are enormously overcommitted. As busy as you think you are in your job, remember that these executives are responsible for lots of people like you and lots of projects. They've got tons of stuff on their mind and you don't know what. So when they show up to a meeting, your mental model should be, assume they're trying to figure out, why am I here and how quickly can I get out of it? Not because they don't like you or they don't care, but they've got this laundry list of other things they got to do. The suspicious part, I think it goes to this point about, what happens. They can't be an expert on everything. If you're a good leader, even when you become a manager, you realize very quickly, I can't know everything that my team knows because there's no time. That's why I have a team. If you could do it yourself, you wouldn't need a team, which means as an executive, if you have hundreds or thousands of people that are part of your organization or billions of dollars, billions of users, you can't know everything. So you have to get really good at trying to figure out if the person talking to you knows what they're talking about. So executives get really good at looking for weak points, inconsistencies. Hey, wait, this person doesn't seem to be listening as a proxy for should I trust this person since I can't personally double check their work.
I see. So it sounds like executive presentation has a lot to do with your personality, how you deliver the message, and a little bit less about the messaging itself. Let's put percentage. What percentage would you put based on the words, the messaging, and how you say it, and how slow you say it?
Yeah. So the good news is I don't think it's about your personality in like a deep sense of who you are. This is a learnable skill. It's like, a lot of things, some things are very much talent driven. A lot of things are learnable skills. So the good news for those of you in the audience is you can learn this and you can improve on it. More what I'm focusing on when I'm talking about this is because we're talking about presentations, it brings your skills in communicating information to the fore. If your underlying ideas are terrible, you could do a great job of presenting and communicating them. But if you haven't thought it through and you haven't thought it through with rigor, you're going to still run into challenges. This is sort of that suspicious angle that I'm talking about again. Like, I'll give you another common mistake people will make. People have so many ideas as a product manager. And if you're a good product manager, you have more good ideas than you have time for. Because you've already gotten rid of the bad ones, and you've got brilliant ideas. And you've got limited time with this leader. There's always this temptation to stick that one extra bullet point in with that one really cool idea. You haven't quite figured it all out, but you think it's really neat, and I'm going to impress the heck out of, Judy, the vice president, and she's going to give me a bunch of people, and I'm going to get promoted. It's going to be great. Part of this suspicious is, in my experience, executives have a laser-focused sixth sense for finding the thing you haven't thought through. And that's what they'll ask questions about. Hold it. Have you done the financial modeling on this? You're saying this works. What about this other thing? And suddenly this goes to the distractible. Executives don't know what you're there to talk about, and they're under no obligation to let you finish. Like, they can interrupt you. There was one VP that I loved working for as part of her team. She was famous for, you would go into a 45-minute review and you might never leave the first slide with the executive summary, because she was brilliant and she would read it and be like, okay, I think I understand it. What about this? What about that? What about this implication? And you might have that later in your deck, but it's not there. That's why I do like the way Amazon has evolved to handle this. They have people write these 6-page documents, and everybody reads the entire document for 10 or 15 minutes before the meeting starts. Google doesn't do that very much, but I got to try it a few times. That's a nice way to try to make sure people get through everything, but it would be the same thing even if it was a written document. You're going to add that one paragraph with your one half-baked idea, and that's what people are going to zoom in on. So the way I tend to put it is your best executive presentations, the metaphor is, think like a cannonball. You're like a very tightly packed set of impact. So it's maximum impact, minimum surface area. You don't want to have a lot of unnecessary stuff or things that you haven't thought through and you're ready to back up and defend. So the content does matter. It's just how you deliver it is a way to give your good content the best possible chance of landing.
This is crazy. Hold on. I really love what you just mentioned regarding executives. No obligation to finish the talk at all. They can stop you on rise one, and especially when they see holes like fishnet. There's a hole. Oh my goodness! I'm gonna dig in even before you get a chance to really finish the key concept you want to deliver, which is in slide 10. But you're on slide 1, so you're just getting killed.
That's we're going to share the link. I've got a deck version of this that everybody can read through, and you'll see in there my model for doing this is the most important slide, if it's a slide, or the first part of a document, if it's a document, is that executive summary. And you want to make sure you're telling your entire story, you're making your entire update, you're making your ask for resources, whatever the reason you're there should come across clearly in a very short amount of space and words. That's another thing people will do. They'll write these decks that are like, I'm going to tell you a story and it's going to lead to a good outcome. It's just very hard to assume that busy, suspicious, distractible people are going to slow down and wait. So you want to spend your time. I learned this because I did a bunch of like journalism in high school and college. This is the classic way you write articles in newspapers. You have a lead, which is the first paragraph, which if it's the only thing you read in the article, you should get the point. And then you add supporting material as you go. That's the way I recommend people write their documents or build their decks. Start at the beginning. The pro tip is that also saves you a lot of time because you haven't gone in and created 20 slides before you know what your message is. You spend your time getting the story right, and then the slides are just supporting information for that, or the rest of the 6-page document is, hey, I'm going to deep dive into explaining why the executive summary says what it does. And then if you get derailed, it's all there on the first part.
True. But what if first part cannot show everything, and the executive should dig in. Again, like I mentioned earlier, so, oh my goodness, what have you done this? This means that you're following two A slides should have backup slides just in case that you did dig in.
Yeah, and that's where this is what you can do well, the flip side of the suspicious. When you do have good backup information for what you're asserting, you're like, hey, here's the data analysis that backs me up. Or, hey, we went through and we analyzed 4 options about what we can do. And this is why we think option 3 is going to make us the most money with the least risk. That's a positive indicator for the executive. Wait, this person has done their homework. So you kind of nailed it. When I would do these at Google, you take your executive summary and maybe it's got like 5 or 6 bullet points. And I will freely admit my slides were notorious. They were super wordy because I was trying to communicate information. If we were talking about doing a keynote address for 500 people, it would be a completely different strategy. But in this, your information transfer, say you've got 5 bullet points on your executive summary. Okay, well, your deck should have 5 slides, which literally could repeat the headline from the executive summary. Here's the supporting information. Maybe you need 2 or 3 slides to get the point across, but it's like it's mechanical of sort of, hey, we are here today to get approval to launch an exciting new ice cream product. Okay, what's the, and then the executive summary is going to say, like, the market for ice cream is large and growing quickly. So then your supporting slide is, the market for ice cream is large and growing quickly, with a chart with your source data that proves the size of the market and the up and to the right that it's growing quickly. You're like, I'm telling you what I'm going to tell you. Now I'm telling it to you. And then at the end, I'm telling you what I just told you.
Love it. Just like the sandwich method with summary up front, a little bit meat in the middle, and then towards the end, another summary again. So, Jonathan, you gave a little bit teaser regarding what the first slides look like. Can you give a specific example using any of your past product or project as an example? You can remove any confidential information. Let's say for that thing, if you want to build executive presentation, what should you put on the executive size? The first.
Yeah, so I've got to make it a little bit generic because, as you said, there's confidentiality things. So the example is, there was a product I was responsible for, and it had a particular strategy of how to deliver value to our customers. We really wanted our customers to use our product as their main way of doing things. And the customers figured out a different way to implement our product in a way that wasn't what we had, designed it for, and it was sort of a surprise. And there were a lot of people in the company that were like, well, we don't think this is the way they should do it. We should just turn it off. Just like, don't let them do it. And that, I was very much driven by consumer value. I happened to think what the customers were doing was not good, but I recognized that they were seeing something good from it. And we realized we needed to do something. So the presentation that we had, the executive summary, was like, okay, hi, why are we here? We're here because we work on this product, which is this big with this much revenue on this growth rates. There is a new trend called foo that people in this market are using. That foo is being adopted very, very quickly. If we do not come up with a good way to help customers with the problem that foo is solving, our product may become less valuable. We have analyzed like 10 different possible responses to foo, and we are looking for your approval to start testing on, option 6 of 10. And that was the executive summary. So it was like, reminder, who the heck are we? Because you're really busy. You don't remember who we are. There's a trend you don't know about. There is data that demonstrates that this is a trend that matters. And we have done our homework about what to do about it. And we are asking permission to move forward with one of the options. And the result we got was the executives were like, okay, here are our concerns. Go start testing out option 6, but come back and check in with us before you launch anything. So we went back later, and then we're like, okay, we've been testing option 6. The momentum of foo is continuing. Option 6 is good, but it's not enough. We came up with like a 6++ that's going to make 6 even better. And now we're looking for your approval to like really invest seriously in making 6 really super good.
This is awesome.
So that's like an example, and there are a lot of other ways to do it, but that was probably one of the times when this model helped, because it was also, all these meetings were like very emotional because people had very strong opinions about foo. And so I was there to get a result, because the other risk you run into if you're not clear, anybody who's been at a big company knows what it's like. You go to one of these executive meetings and there's a big discussion and everybody's like, well, that was really useful, but we want to see 12 more things, or you've given me a lot to think about. I'm going to have to get back to you later.
Which means if your presentation wasn't very fully thought out, you might lead into more work and the next meeting and next meeting and forever.
That's like another classic mistake, is when people show up with a bunch of slides and they haven't really figured out what their story and message is. And again, the work could be great, the thinking could be good, but it's just this kind of meandering thing where you're not coming out and clearly explaining like, this is what I want to do and this is why.
This is crazy. Hey, did those kind of mistakes actually happen in companies like Google? You know, people, working for Google probably hire the best product managers, people in the world, and pay them $500,000 at least. You know, so do people in Google make those kind of mistakes?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody does. Well, I mean, we're humans. It's sort of like, you know, you can get kind of funny. It's like, we're not machines yet. You know, AI is not that good. But, you know, we're all suboptimal processing units. And when you chain a bunch of them together, you improve your overall fault tolerance. But the individual units are still suboptimal processing. And, you know, it's tricky.
Interesting. Hey, think of AI. You know, we even my company, we've been trying to use AI to even write some social media content. Hey guys, if you know any of the content we went through AI, let me know through our LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. But through executive presentation regarding what to put on the slides and how to turn something into exact summary, have you tested out using AI with ChatGPT or Bard to help with executive presentation? Is working on
I have not. My general feedback on things like this is maybe it can help you get started, but you still have to review and own the material as a person.
Makes sense. Yes, especially when we trial AI, we find something very, very interesting. The ideation started was great. Some of the video content was generated by AI. However, we start to execute, we realized that the tone, the AI write script, YouTube presentation or YouTube video stuff doesn't sound like Dr. Nancy Lee. It doesn't sound like me anymore. To us, it's more inspiration. Cool. So let's really create something more authentic to ourselves. Awesome to hear from your perspective regarding how giving advice, how to use that only for inspiration. Yeah, I totally agree. Awesome. Cool. Hey, Jonathan, you mentioned something about Amazon writing six pages of summary. Personally speaking, I think this is overkill to another extreme. Writing down everything ahead of time, because that can lead into inefficiency as well. So what do you think the balance should be? And especially say you tried it out, the Amazon style. Do you think is better than just doing presentation or not?
I think they both can be valuable. I don't think one is permanently better than the other. I would say what I liked about the written form is written communication is different in terms of the structure and the thought process you have to go through. You have to be able to sort of formulate an argument and structure a set of communications and then be able to sort of back it up. So it uses a different part of your brain. With slides, I think the benefit is it can be very efficient because you don't have to use like full sentences and you can get points across and you can sort of lead with like really good data that can be very communicative. The risk, I think, with the slides is you can end up creating a lot of just like junk slides, you know, like this is a bullet, this is another bullet. I think I made a point. I'm moving on. It doesn't add up. And you do run into that sequencing problem of people are interrupting you to ask a question that you're going to answer in 4 slides. One of the really good practices that I always liked teams that would do this, and increasingly Google did this more and more by the time I was done there, you have to send the deck at least 24 hours in advance. And then people at least have the opportunity to look over the material before the meeting starts, whether it's a deck or a document. That's the part that I think is really important. If you send it, you're sort of on the honor system that people make time. I think the Amazon approach is by actually making the 1-hour meeting silent for 10 minutes. You're sort of forcing people to actually sit there and read it.
Very cool. Very cool. So that's the way to do the combination reviewing the slides or before we even get to the presentation. This is very important. Maybe other countries I follow the same strategy. This is awesome. Cool. So now I do have confusion regarding the differences between public speaking and exact representation. For example, inside our accelerator power skills program, we separate like power skills programs. Hey, let me help you become a leader, get promoted. One of the things we call it exact presentation, but we don't call it public speaking because I truly believe there's big differences between these two.
Yes.
So I want you as an expert who have been through both sides, public speaking, exact presentation for 15 years in different sizes of companies. So what do you think is the major differences?
I think it's the interactivity and the goals. So with public speaking, you might have a Q&A section at the end.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you're going up to deliver some kind of a speech or an address or a keynote or a product launch, and then you get off the stage. So it tends to be much more one way. And in terms of the goals, with the public speaking, you generally have a very clear sort of influence or informational goal. Like, I'm here to tell you about our new product. I'm here to, communicate our philosophy going forward. I'm here to help you think about some interesting new ideas. It's much more of a performance. And when you talk about these executive presentations, it's basically a highly structured conversation. It's still ultimately, you have somebody there you're trying to talk with. And because it tends to be large rooms and there's all this kind of stuff that goes around it, it has these sort of rituals and formality, and there are strategies that work well. But your best executive presentations are highly interactive. That was always the ones I always liked the best were the ones where the executives I was sort of there to talk with were fully engaged in the material and would ask smart questions, even if they were challenging, or would help think about ideas to make things better. Because then I knew they were engaged with the material. The ones that were always more kind of stressful is when you just kind of showed up and you're like talking at them and you're not getting any reaction. And you're always like, well, did that go well? Did that not go well? Does anybody know what's going on? That would feel a little nuts.
And then they get their smartphones, maybe libraries 10 years ago, and then become something not really achieving the purpose of executive presentation, but you're giving a public speaking like audience, but people do not react. So that's one way to differences. I love how you make it so simple. Thank you so much. Now let's switch gear quickly. Regarding big tech. You have been working for startups all to big tech, all sizes for many years, total 30 years of experience. So what do you think of the challenges of tech we're facing right now?
I think that the entire sort of technology industry, and you could focus on internet technology maybe a little bit, we're going through a societal shift that we still haven't figured out. Overall, whether you're talking just the United States or around the world, these technologies have transformed human life as much as almost anything. Like when I look for analogies, I have to go back, and there's this amazing book called The Printing Revolution in Early Modern Europe, which is obviously focused on only one part of the world, but it's talking about the impact of sort of Gutenberg bringing the printing press to Europe and printing of scientific information and religious information. And it was this incredible upheaval in society that literally it was hundreds of years before society sort of settled down into knowing what it meant to have printed books and news and other sorts of things. We're grappling with that now. And 30 years ago, you could kind of show up to a tech company and just build some stuff and see what happened. And it was kind of fun and crazy. Oh, we're going to launch a website and see what's going on. These days, so many people are online and the impact is so big. You now have ethical concerns and societal responsibility and risks and harms that just mean you need more structure. Another example would be, think about like automobiles. When people were first inventing cars, you could pretty much build something in your garage and take it out on the road. These days, even a disruptive car company has to pass inspections and has to be considered street-worthy and so forth, because society has said the risks of just any nut job building a vehicle and driving it out on the road or selling a bunch of defective vehicles to people is something as society we don't want to put up with. And I think the tech industry right now has to go through understanding our level of importance to society means we have obligations. And that's going to change what you can build and how you can build it and how quickly you can get it out there. Whether you're huge and already an incumbent or a small company building something new. I think those days of just build what you want and see what happens are going to be harder and harder to come by.
I see, especially the consumer's expectation is higher now. They want to try out. They do not want to try out crazy, like out of blue ideas. Now they say, okay, can this really solve my problem or not? And I don't think they have so much distractions. So existing product, and each product out there, you already have 5 competitors, large or small, or people want to compete with Google again. Well, it's too large to compete with. So now the standard is very high. There's so many different competitions, but really want to solve the best problem and the race to the market as well.
I think that there will still be amazing new things for a very long time to come. And I think that you actually have platforms making things easier. Again, we're getting a little off track, but like when I was doing a startup around like 1999 in California, we had to buy a bunch of expensive hardware and run it in data centers, and the software was all super customized. I would love to be running a startup today where I could build on top of Google Cloud or Amazon or Azure. It's actually easier to come up with new ideas in certain ways. So I think it's still an incredibly competitive environment.
Yeah, exactly. Just the infrastructure is when the bar is much higher now. Listen, let me ask you this question regarding your thoughts of growth mindset, invest in yourself. You know, lots of us, you know, we're going through the stock market going up and down. As we're filming this video, stock market is already 10% higher than its highest in the past, which is also ridiculous. People are thinking about what's a smart way to invest. But when they talk about investment, they always think about, oh, invest in stock market, invest in real estate, right? So what do you think is the importance of investing in yourself with a growth mindset?
It's the only way. I would often say this to people on my team who would be self-critical or worried about things, and this is going to sound a little bit toxic, so I hope it's accepted in the spirit, is all of the best people I worked with were in one way or another their own worst critics. And I don't mean that in a self-destructive way or a negative self-talk way, but that they were always aware of the possibility that they could learn something new, that they could find another way to do something, that there was an opportunity to improve. I generally found in my experience the product managers you have to worry about are the ones who are confident that they're awesome and they're just waiting for the universe to recognize their greatness. Those are the people that actually I feel like delivered worse results over time, or people would just get to the point that they didn't want to work with them. You want to have that growth mindset because you always have an opportunity to try something new, to learn something new. I mean, one of the best things of the past 5 years of my career at Google was I got to work with, and am still working with, an absolutely phenomenal executive coach. And she's a psychologist and an executive coach. And I talked to her monthly for years, working on things that I knew I could get better at. The fact that I had a long tenure and had done all this great stuff didn't mean I was done. It meant that the areas I wanted to develop in were shifting. But I loved having the opportunity to learn and try and develop new skills. I'm still learning. I'm going to be learning, hopefully, you know, the rest of my life.
This is and actually I found out pattern. Actually, the more you said, the more they are, and the more they receive coaching and help from other people. And as you say, it's 5 years every single month money on executive coach. That's that's a lot of investment on your side. And myself also spent $30,000 last year in building other skills. And I do believe that better investment than putting stock market. Well, depends on how soon we're gonna crash. We don't know. We don't predict this. But after here, your perspective on that. This is perfect. Okay, so Jonathan, what's the best way for people to learn more about executive presentation? How can people reach out to you?
Sure. I have a website, www.bellack.com, and there's a resources link at the top that has the sort of slideshow version of some of what we've talked about with some additional stuff as well. You're welcome to take a look at that. There's another resource up there. There'll probably be more over time.
Awesome. Great. Cool. I'm going to link in the description of this video and show notes. People feel free to go down there and check out the slides. And we also know that we're going to join our private discussion with our circle. We're going to go through several important slides, go and teach people how exactly they can create fantastic interpretation in our private session. Awesome. Great. So thank you so much, and everybody who tuned live today. Make sure to give a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts once this is published, and make sure to like and share the streaming of the live videos on YouTube and LinkedIn. We're looking forward to see all of you guys in our next Product Insider podcast. And so now a quick announcement so Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nancy. This has been great.
Great. Thank you, Jonathan. Fantastic. So now quick announcement for people who is insider inner circle with us, and also our student inside of the PM Accelerator, feel free to join the Zoom link. And you guys already received the Zoom link this morning, and also inside our Discord channel. For people who is outside the program, we also make the inner circle for free for people as well. We can go to darknessly.com/inner circle, or just go to my website homepage, and then you click services. You can find circle link to immediate sign up free, and then you will get Zoom for the private session with Jonathan. Dives deeper regarding slides, how to slides, exactly as well. Okay, great. All right, thank you very much for joining us today, Jonathan. Let's jump to Zoom. The Zoom is already in the meet invitation, so let's link there to see our audience, give them more insight. Awesome. Okay, great meeting you guys, and talk to you guys soon.